We'll be friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
That was quick.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our trustee, Steve Brower, is going to fill in for our clerk who is on vacation. So we will make sure if he needs any help, we'll help him along the way. At this time, would you do a roll call, please, Mr. Brower? Yes, sir. Ben? Here. Scott? Joe? Steve here. Dennis? Here. Bill? Watch. Here. Here. Morgan. And Susie.
President.
Make sure you mark down who's here and who's not, okay? Do we have a motion to approve minutes dated 6/2/2025? I make the motion.
I'll second.
Second?
Yes.
I made the motion, accept the minutes. Motion on the floor to accept the minutes of the meeting. I did that. And that's me, let's vote now. They're going off the vote. Dennis? Yes. Susie? Yes. Raul? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Susie? All right. Okay. Motion to accept the minutes carried. Do we have any public comments this evening? I didn't see anybody sign in. Was there anybody in the audience that had a public comment? Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve bills for payment and payroll?
Yes, I move to approve bills for payment dated May 29th, 2025, the corporate general fund in the amount of $4,703.02. I also move to approve payroll in the June 7th, 2025, in the amount of $19,579.68. Also ending June 12th, 2025, stipend of $3,551.35.
I'll second.
Does anybody have any
Second.
questions? Second by Morgan. Any questions by anybody? Okay, no questions.
Okay, we will move to approve the bills for payment, May 29, corporate general fund, $4,703.02. And payroll ending June 7th, $19,579.68. Payroll ending June 12th, stipend of $3,551.35. Taking a vote. Brower, yes. Bennett? Yes. Gary?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Carried. That's it. Okay. Department reports, our clerk is not here this evening. Attorney Mike Sanchi, I have spoken with Mr. Sanchi several times this week. The first thing I want to bring up to the board is the appraisal at the Pippin property. It was supposed to happen 2.5 weeks ago. We still don't have an appraisal on the property. We agreed to pay a set amount to the appraiser. So at this time, I would like to ask the board their opinion on moving forward. Should we look at a different appraiser? Should we wait until this appraiser is available, which I don't know anything will be. So what does the board have to say about this matter?
How long does something like that normally take? I'm not really knowledgeable about that. You just call them and they come out and that's that.
Well, we thought within a week or so, probably.
Right.
And our attorney right now doesn't really know when they're going to be available. And I would rather the company call and say, hey, listen, I'm either too busy or it's going to be, I'll be out there the 1st of July, but right now we don't know. And I would like to move on this property because once it's appraised, we have to still go through the whole process of getting it on the market, and I don't know how long it's going to stay in the market. The property is on the west and on the north is owned by someone else. We own 3 parcels, the house, the greenhouse, and it's right in the back of the house. And then a corporation, Dollar General, owns to the east, and then there is a public right of way or the state right of way in the front. So we're kind of surrounded by different entities right there, and I would like to get this wrapped up. And hopefully get cleaned up before the summer is over with, and when fall gets here, the property does look pretty terrible. So there is not a great hurry. I'm selling it. I mean, that's our ultimate goal, but I would like to move forward, and right now, we're not moving anywhere with it. So does anybody on the board have an opinion?
I kind of think that we should give them 2 weeks, and if they don't come in within 2 weeks, then it's all, I'll find somebody new.
Yes, I was looking to get somebody new because I thought we had to give them 2 weeks.
Well, it's been 2.5 weeks since we approved the amount. But before, and Mr. Sanchi is waiting for me to say, here's what we're gonna do. He does it, he is our advisor on this property, but he gains nothing by hiring this company. So. Dennis, do you have an opinion?
They must not be interested, just won't get somebody else. That's the way I look at it.
I agree with Dennis.
I will, I'll wait till the end of this week. I will reach out to Mr. Sanchi and let him know that since we haven't heard from him, we'd like to move on. And then I will report back to the board with anything that I found out. That's all I have right now for the attorney. For our engineers report, we met the other day with a representative from Pickish Engineering on some restoration work here, mostly on North Main Street by the railroad tracks on Greenwood Avenue. When you come over the tracks and you go north on Main Street, it's kind of, the street is kind of given away right there, and Essen Farm. Now, they agreed that there needs to be some work done. We haven't completely paid the full bill to the engineering company. I know they're going to take care of the work. I would feel more comfortable that the work would be taken care of and then we make final payment. But the process is starting right now. We've waited a little bit of time. They came out, as I reported to Ms. Worrell about they're coming out and we're going to address the issue. So I will make sure that we will keep after that. Steve Sullivan, the street commissioner, will be in contact with Ms. Worrell and they will set up when they will be out working on this restoration, and Ms. Worrell will know what's going on. She can report back to the board. Off those 2 topics, that's all I have right now. We're going to move on to insurance and ordinance committee chairperson, Susan Weedle.
Yes. Second reading on appropriations ordinance. I'd like to make a motion to pass ordinance number O-6-21-5, an ordinance making appropriations for corporate purposes for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2025 and ending April 30th, 2026 for the village of Grant Park, Illinois.
And I'll second.
The motion was made by Susie for the passage of the ordinance 0-6-21-5.
6-25-1.
Okay, mine wasn't -1. Okay,
No, it's because it's added in.
seconded by
Yes, but you have to have
Gary.
her vote.
And now we're going to take a vote on it.
She's first.
Susie,
Yes.
Second,
anybody?
I was second, so
Okay,
yes.
Gary. Brower, yes. Dennis,
yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
That's it.
motion carried.
Next up, just a concern. I'm asking for a vote on waiving the rental fee for the Grant Park Ag Ed alumni, which they hosted their cash bash this past Saturday. Originally, under the past mayor, Ms. Hawkins, we had voted that we would waive that rental fee. And then changing of the guards, we're our plan was to stay strong and stick with what's appropriate for the hall rental. But I feel because this had been voted on and passed, that we should honor that agreement, that their $250 is waived. It is a school function. It is our community, Grant Park residents. So I'd like to vote that we waive their fee.
One second.
Do you know what it is they do with the money they raise?
No, I do not. I would just,
It goes right back to the agriculture department at the school, which is a very, very growing department, part of the chicken thing, if you will. And like, they do a lot of other things with farming and events and animals and teaching the kids like the farm community kind of mini college at school. Actually a really interesting program they have. It's available only for high school students. There's also competitions with other schools that have eggs, so you can kind of see what other people are doing as well. It's a really good program.
yeah, we have a great team.
Yeah.
We just
I know they won the cattle, I don't know what the appropriate term is, the cattle awards a lot, but yeah,
Do you know if they're a 501c3?
no.
The thing about a 501c3 is they have to give reports to the IRS, to the Secretary of State, and to the Attorney General every year about what they do and who's their officers and things like that. And they just wondered if this was a 501c3.
I think this was their fourth year,
Yeah.
and we've always waived the rental fee those years also, so I'm assuming they have their ducks in a row when it comes to reporting.
Another question. It says it's from the Ag Ed alumni. So these are people who have graduated from the Ag Ed program? And it's an alumni association?
Not from the program, but from our school.
Meaning they're alumni from Grant Park School?
Yes, correct.
Not necessarily from the Ag Ed.
It's only about 3 or 4 years old, so
Yes, it's a very new program.
depending on their age, may not have been
Years.
able to be a part of it. Right?
Yes.
And you mentioned this for this, it's a school function,
Not a school.
It's like extracurricular activity.
right?
So not a school function.
But you want to waive fee for this particular event because it's short notice from,
Because we
Administration.
voted on it under our past mayor,
right?
and I just feel we need to honor that.
I think it's a new administration, a new way of signing the rental fees and trying to be consistent throughout the rest of the administration's time.
Well, I-
If we apply it to the ag group, who else do we apply that to? Every school function that comes along?
No, I believe that Ben stated when we discussed this at one of his first meetings, that if our guidelines and if anything did not fall, you could come to the board, state your case, and we would discuss it then and vote on it.
That means any future, if anybody comes to us for any function and they would like a discount off of the rental fee, then it has to be approved by the board of trustees in order to give them that. So for the ability to reduce the rate, the rental rate by the mayor of Grant Park is no longer there like it was in the last administration. We're changing the whole scheme of things. If someone wants a discount, they have to come to us as a board of trustees. We can't go to the mayor. Last administration, they went to the mayor and she would pass on whatever she felt was appropriate.
No, the ag alumni came to the meeting and we voted on it, and they
Yeah, I
asked when
understand.
we voted. Okay,
But you're saying that in the future, that trustees would have to vote for this.
if anybody were to come to us and ask for a waiver or a reduced fee, I think that going to the village board meeting would be the next step.
Does anybody have any questions?
I call the question, which means we're ready to vote.
Okay, ready to vote. Motion to eliminate the rental fee for them,
Just waive the rental
to
fee.
waive the rental fee to the AG Ed alumni group function that was recently held. Motion made by Susie, seconded by Morgan.
Now, wait for you to vote.
And now I need to vote again.
Yes.
Morgan, Susie, Morgan,
Yes.
Lauer, no? Dennis?
Well, yes, it's already voted on, that we should,
I'm sorry.
yes, that might be yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Okay, one comment on this. Our contract in the village says if you pay village taxes, then you get a reduced rate. Otherwise, you pay out of town or the full rate. So since this was voted to pass, now this is going to open the door for anybody that wants a reduced rate. That's why I set this policy at the first meeting. So anybody who wants a reduced rate now, come to the village board, talk to the village, and you can vote on every one of them. And they're going to be, this won't be the last of it. That's why I set a policy. What the past administration does is their business. They're no longer here. This was my administration. If this is how you want to do it, then you can decide on who gets the building for what from here on out. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
That's all I have.
Streets and Alley Committee Chairperson Morgan Laurel.
Yes, I would like to discuss the Leaf Dragon vacuum. Did everybody get one of these in their packets with the new picker upper? Super nice. From what I've been told, it is the best price, and we are also offered a 20% item line discount as of right now. I'm not exactly sure when that expires then. No.
Not sure. He said if right now it'd still be good. Originally, I think you have both sheets, the original price and then the discounted price. I asked about as far as availability, we'll take 1 week when he gets a check that we can order it and pick it up and bring it here. And then we'll go in the process of making the containment box on one of the village vehicles for it.
I think this is a really great thing. It seems like it was very missed in the community this year. It's nice to have. We are a small village, so we have to work within our means, but I think it's something nice to offer the residents. It does go through all of town as well as Lake Matonga, so everybody's treated fairly with the use. I think it'd be a really great purchase, and I'd like to make a question. I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the Leaf Dragon debris loader with trailer not to exceed $23,750. And that is, may or may not, that is before the maybe 20% line discount, which would make, which would make it $19,500.
I'll second.
Second. Oh, she did, I'm sorry. Okay, we have a motion to approve the purchase of the Leaf Dragon debris loader. Take a vote now. Morgan,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes.
Robert, yes, Dennis,
Yes,
Gary, yes. And that's it. Gary.
Thank you. Next on my docket is fines for pet animal waste. Steve has brought to my attention, there's been a lot of pet waste at the poops. Dogs are pooping at the park, sidewalks, and the waste is not being picked up. There is a fine for people who do not pick up their animal waste. It can range from $25 to $200, and this will start being enforced. As well as we had some horse poop in the alleys and around Hill Park from the event last Saturday or the Saturday before uptown, which they did end up cleaning up, but of course did not really want to. So please just pick up after your pets. There are fines that will start being enforced. That's really all I have.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Worrell? Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
You had a question?
Oh, yeah.
May I make a comment?
Oh, yes, sir.
I know that the library had a problem between the library and the building to the east of it at one time from the people who rented the building next door. And my wife talked to Andrea, who runs the proprietorship of the apartments. And most of the time that got cleaned up and that got straightened up. But in the little bit of grass that the village mows between there, it killed a lot of grass because the dog was coming down and just going right there all the time. So we do need to do something in the village.
I can't imagine me at the park playing my kid. Who's-
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely need to keep an eye on that.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Finance Committee Chairman, Mr. Gary Morgan.
Yes, the item that really should have aligned to discuss more, in addition to getting some feeling about what we want to approve, is the Griffin Gate Farm TIF, which is 109 West Taylor. Again, just to kind of summarize what my number was to everybody. The TIF administrator, the TIF attorney, all says that everything that was in the application as far as what they're asking for TIF was approvable and correct for appropriate TIF award. We asked that the building be structurally analyzed at the last meeting, and they did have an architect, actually a couple of architects, come out and they basically said that the building was made properly and is in a good condition, it's salvageable, and that there's minimal structural enhancements. In fact, I think they only said the only problem that they found is one joist should be inspected and potentially cistered. So out of 100 joists, they had one of them have a problem that's not too bad. And then their conclusion was the condition as exists is adequate, no further foundation work is requested. So the building's intact, and really the TIF that they're requesting will make the building look presentable downtown. And the main thing is that unlike all the other TIF projects that we've paid for, this one will increase the current EAV from 26,500 to our TIF administrator and the Yellow Township assessor. And it felt it would go up to 50,000. So I guess I was more interested, probably more like 48, but they're more experts and they're saying it could be up to 50. I'm all for that. So I guess what my recommendation is that we fully fund the TIF with the understanding it'll be paid back over 3 years. And again, we don't pay $1 until they have completely finished the TIF work and paid for it. And then we start paying at that time 1/3 of it. So they asked for $320,430. 1/3 of it would be $106,810. Now, what our TIF attorneys asked is that he would like to know what the board does want to approve. Do you want to approve the $320,430 over 3 years? I guess, while I'm not going to make an official motion because he wants to wait until he actually writes up the contract and brings that to the board for an official motion, I'd like to know how you feel about it. Morgan?
Can you repeat the second part of that? Sorry.
Okay, Mike Sanchi is drawing up a
Yes.
redevelopment contract, and he would rather you not vote officially on it tonight, but he does want to know what the amount of the TIP that you were interested in doing.
Yes.
And the full amount would be 320 or 30. And he also needs to know for sure how many years. We have enough money to pay it in one, but I really don't want to do that. I like spreading it over 3 years. And that's what the last, except for the ones that we paid off right away the first year. And those were small. One was 5,000, one was 21,000. This is lots more. I really think we should wait and pay it over 3 years. So again, what I'm looking for is 320,430 okay with you over 3 years.
I do think it's a lot of money, but I do agree that it would really help the downtown. If we're gonna do that whole streetscape anyways, let's kind of make it all look a little more insane, as well as I think the TIF fund remainder after this is a way greater number than I anticipated it to be after the full 300,000. If approved, I do agree over 3 years as opposed to 1,
Okay,
because that's a lot chunk right away, you know?
I mean, we've got the money, we probably will
Right.
have it next year too.
Yeah, and I think that going from 26 to 50,000 is good too. That's a larger gain.
Okay. Steve,
I agree. Yes, 3 years.
Susie.
I think maybe 3 years.
Excellent.
It's only 3 years of both.
Okay, thank you very much. What I'll do is I'll tell Michael that that is what we wish to do. Then he'll prepare the redevelopment contract and we'll officially vote on it at the next meeting. And then what happens with that is the contract then goes to the people that requested the TIF. They have to read it and agree to it and sign it. And then it comes back and the village president will officially sign for us. And then we wait and see what they do. And again, we don't pay $1 until the TIF project is complete and paid for. Okay, thank you. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Community Outreach Chairman, Steve Brown.
Went through all the posters up in the community center attic with Gary. A week ago, we organized them all for future use and got rid of all the ones that were not usable in the future. So that helped to clean up a lot up there. The fest meeting was held on June 4th. Also had a event sponsor sub meeting on the 12th. The next fest meeting is scheduled for July 2nd at 6 o'clock at the community center. So far, the Fall Fest is shaping up really good. It's going to be a good time. And we are working on a solution for the 5K pancake run on June 29th, which we should be able to announce any changes in the next couple days. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Brower? Yes, ma'am.
Not really a question, but if you do need someone with a health department license, like if it has to be held somewhere else, I have one and I'll be there that day.
You have a health department?
Yes,
Cooking license?
yes, sir. Mhm.
Ooh.
I have to have it to have my business, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I'll be there running anyway, so if you need someone, if something happens,
Okay.
I'll be there.
Well, on this, I'll discuss it.
Right, yeah, no, I just
Thank
wanna
you
let
for
you know.
volunteering. I appreciate
Sure.
that. It's going to help us out.
Good.
Excellent.
Anyone else? Is that it, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Chairperson Julie Quinn from Buildings and Grounds couldn't be here tonight. She is broke down in Arkansas, so she
Oh,
sent
no.
me a message and said she couldn't make the meeting. I do have a couple things on her behalf to bring to the board's attention and people in the audience. We have a new mommy and daughter swing out in our playground right here. This was put up by the Grant Park Foundation. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And some volunteers put this up. Also, a slide was installed at Health Park through Grant Park Foundation and volunteers on the hill. I was down there and as they were putting it in, kids were using it. So they really had a good time with it. Another thing that Ms. Quinn mentioned, we need to get a handle on the weeds in our downtown area, especially on the corner of Taylor and Main Street. No one's doing anything with them, and everything north of Taylor Street. So I don't want to mention the name right now, but in between two of the buildings, we have a lot of overgrowth of trees and shrubs. And last year, the weeds in the sidewalk got taken care of. When it got so cold, they died, and actually the wind blew them away. So I don't want to go through that this year. We have a lot of stuff going on, and with the beautification work, I don't want that to be neglected. And if we could dress it up and take care of it. Everybody south of Taylor Street seems to take care of it. The buildings that the village owns with help of volunteers take care of that, our maintenance department. So we want to be able to stay on top of that. So that's everything for Ms.
I
Quinn.
have a question.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about having everyone make a concerted effort to get the weeds out. Can we also clean up our lot that we own next to the police station and get all the weeds out of there?
Sure, that's part of our property too.
Yes, I know. We need to set the example by cleaning that up too.
Maybe Ms. Worrell, if you could mention that to maintenance department guys.
What's the
to take care of
location?
it. Now, the stuff on the sidewalk is not our responsibility. That'll be the business owner's responsibility. Whoever owns that building or whoever rents that building, they have to clean it up. That lot is ours. The rest of it isn't. So just so we're
Right.
clear on that.
What was the location?
Next to the police station, and then everything on the corner of Taylor and Main Street going north, all the way to Mosier. So we need to take care of that, and then, in between, we have one building in the middle of the street there, and then there's an opening in between buildings, and the overgrowth in there after a while gets, with trees and brush, gets pretty bad and it gets neglected, so we need to stay on top of that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Law Enforcement Committee Chairman, Mr. Dennis Marks.
Well, we have a difference of opinion in the first thing. I think that there should be golf carts only or ATVs allowed on the sidewalk between Hilbert Drive and Dollar Store. And we discussed this at the last meeting. And now I've got a lot of feedback after the meeting ended that people don't want that. So we need to decide what we're gonna do and then vote on it.
Well, just to bring everybody up to speed, at the last meeting, we discussed it, we tabled it because we were in the middle of discussing it. So at this point, as Mr. Marks brought up, he has heard from people in the village concerning that. They would rather not have these vehicles on the multi-use path. So does anybody, Mr. Marks, you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, not to that.
Okay. Does anybody else have a comment concerning the use of the multi-use path?
Just how many people have talked to you about it?
What, 10? Oh, something like that, 10 or 12.
Sir?
Originally, I agreed with doing this, and I changed my mind. I think, once we open this door, then it's gonna be, okay, I can only use this section, why can't I use this section? And I think, Susie, when I were talking, I think, we fought real hard to get this path the way it is. For people walking, pushing strollers, things like that. I think if we allow any motorized vehicle on there, I think it's a mistake. And I think we keep it the way it is. We don't have to do any extra signage. It's not permitted. And what do you do in the winter, as we were talking about? You don't drive your golf cart there in the winter, you get in your car and drive to the dollar store. If it's that inconvenient, park at Casey's or the dispensary, walk down the path to the dollar store. I think it's just gonna open it up. It's gonna open up a door that I don't think we wanna open.
Anybody else with a comment?
I agree with the chief.
Okay, it sounds like the consensus on this is to leave the path as it sits right now for pedestrian or bicycle use or walking, and not to open it for any ATV or motorized type vehicle. So do we have a motion to keep the path as it is now?
I'll make that motion.
We make a motion.
We table it.
No,
I
before.
don't think it's necessary.
We're just discussing.
We're discussing it, we have to vote on it. We table it after the last meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to not allow any motorized vehicles on the.
Exactly.
And
I'll
I'll
say no changes to the current.
No change, no changes. Motion made by Dennis, seconded by.
Yep.
Susie. We'll vote, Robert, yes, I agree. Dennis?
Yes.
No, sorry, Gary?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Susie? Okay, carried. No changes.
Mr. Marks, do you have anything else?
Yeah. We need to make a motion, or I make a motion, then we vote on this camera first. That we'll vote the purchase and put up.
Is the camera operational? Is it working?
I haven't, our trial period expired. But I mounted it down on the pole where we talked about, and all we're waiting for is once we pay the bill, and I need to get a air card put in it, the Verizon card, and then we're good to go.
And then we have a storage,
We have a set up, it's all in the agreement, yes, and it's all included in the price.
So Mr. Marks brought up about, last time we discussed about the camera, but we we discussed to accept it, but we didn't agree to vote on the purchase. So we're making it official. Mr. Marks made a motion to make the purchase of the camera not to exceed $2,903.75 from KCMD.
And I'll second.
Okay, call for vote. Robert, yes. Dennis?
Dennis first, and then Susan.
I'm sorry. Dennis?
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
Robert, yes. Gary?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Terry?
So, Mr. Marks, you have anything else? Chief?
Yeah, I got a couple things. I want to bring up to the board. I know a lot of people think nothing really happens in Grant Park. I want to bring an incident to your attention. Monday, my officer was working alerted me about 5 o'clock. We had what we thought was a child abduction because a mother had granted her daughter permission to go to a friend's house. Some other kids saw her getting in the car, they thought with an adult. So she called where she was supposed to be and she wasn't there. So she did not have cell service. We tried to ping the cell phone. That didn't work. The advantage is, as village board, I have to thank the village board for approving this weeks ago. Al was home, I was home. We both came from home in our cars. We were able to respond quickly. Turned out it wasn't. She had gone with a girlfriend. The car they thought she got in, they were mistaken, but she had lied where she was going. So what could have been really, really bad turned out to be okay. But I just, reiterate the point. Sometimes, we get called in after hours and it's nice to have take home cars for myself and my investigator because, my officer that's working is kind of got a lot to do at that point and worked out really well. And that's why we do what we do. Secondly, I want to address the UTV issue in town. We have a lot of these, they're called off-road vehicles that are, now if they're registered in the village and they have their golf cart sticker, they can drive on our village streets. Recently came up, we talked about licensing. Some of these can get licenses in other states, although I've only seen 2 and they were both from, I think it was Nevada or Arizona. Trustee Marks and I were talking about that. If they live here, they have to transfer it within 30 days and get an Illinois license. But Illinois dearly doesn't authorize a license for that. There's really strict parameters for that. Some of these vehicles may be able to get a license plate, at which point we can't tell them they can't drive down Route 1. But it's come to my attention that, there's golf carts on Route 1 going to the dollar store and going these different places. I encourage people, if they see that, give me the golf cart number. They will never get another sticker because when we issue a golf cart sticker to somebody, we give them the rules. The rules say you have to have seat belts, you have to have child restraint, and the roads you can drive on and the roads you cannot. It presents a different and probably a gray area if they're on the shoulder of the road. I consider that still to be the roadway. Again, the dollar store issue with the path, drive your car there. That's all I can tell you. But if we find people in violation going down Route 1, and I worked Sunday, and there were several UTVs that come from outside of town, have no registration whatsoever, driving right down Route 1. I've done a lot of research on this. This is not legal in the state of Illinois on any roadway. So it's a problem that we are not alone dealing with. The county deals with it every single day. And I think it's something that down the road, our legislators are going to have to address, whether they're going to license these things or prohibit them. But under law now, they're prohibited. It's very difficult for us to try to do any enforcement on this. We do have out of town people that come in and register their UTVs like golf carts, like in town, so they can drive on our streets, and that's fine. And this is on our end. It's going to be a beast to wrestle. But if we get them going down the main drags, we're going to stop them and say, you don't have registration on a car, you're on a state highway. So I think maybe we'll do some, public service announcement to tell people, you need to read the law, and this is not permitted. The only exception is if you're a farmer and it's farm machinery, things like that, obviously that's acceptable. But it's gonna be a difficult problem to deal with. In town, we can deal with it very easily. If people become a problem, they don't get a sticker ever again, and they can't drive it. They do, we impound it. I don't know, I'm looking, I'd love to hear, what's your guys' opinions on these things, 'cause
So here's a scenario. Like a UTV, but I can't get a license for it here to drive on the road, correct?
you can drive it, you can get a golf cart permit to drive it in town,
In town.
but it doesn't permit you to drive like from here to Solid or here down the road. Because it's prohibited on all Illinois streets and roadways.
Okay, but I registered it and got a license out of Iowa.
That is a problem
And it
because,
states that because I live in Illinois, though, I have 30 days to get a sticker. And Illinois does not grant a sticker for that. So isn't that the answer then? No?
the answer is we have to honor license plates from other states. We have a compact with all 50 states honoring their license plates. If they have a valid license plate in another state, we have to honor that. It doesn't go to the extreme of where we're going to say, okay, well, now I want to see your driver's license. You live here. Now the 30-day thing comes into play. It's going to be difficult to wrestle with, but we don't have a problem with that. It's just we're going to be, as like I said, we're going to be stopping these as they're going down the roadway and saying, you're on a roadway and you have no registration. Now, we have taken steps in our village. You have to have insurance, you have to have seatbelts, you have to have safety equipment, things like that. So I think we're doing the right thing. It's hard to control what comes in from the outside. So we're I'm just looking for kind of a plan on how to wrestle with this, because it's gonna be a challenge.
Well, earlier today, I showed you a thing that says that once you move to the state of Illinois, with an ETV, you have to get a license within 30 days.
It's not a state plate.
That's written by the state, so I don't know why we have a problem with their license.
Well, we have a problem with unlicensed.
Well,
We don't have that
they
many
live in
licenses.
Illinois, they should have a license right away. They're not moving it from another state, or they don't have a license plate from another state.
Right, but the issue is they are not licensable in Illinois for our roadways. 90% of them, there's a small percentage that.
Well, the ATVs are, but the UTVs are.
The UTV, there's only a small percentage of the UTVs that fall into where they could register them in Illinois. I've seen two, they were not in our town, they were in another town that had Illinois license plates. I've never seen one here. So I don't know, I mean.
I'll do a little more investigating. I'll come back next month.
Any other questions from anyone?
Yes, sir.
So you basically can't just pull people over and ask them
I
for their
absolutely
paperwork to
can.
see if it's been 30 days. You just have to wait for them to mess
Well,
up.
no, if there's a vehicle without license plates, we have the right to stop at any time.
Okay,
Because it's a motor vehicle on a roadway.
right,
It violates the no valid registration statute.
okay.
Every vehicle, and that's why we have a mandatory insurance policy. I don't know that a lot of these vehicles, like I said, we can control internally, we can control what we have here.
Right,
I don't know if we can, when they're coming from other towns or wherever,
right,
if they're not registered here, we don't even know who they are.
right.
We definitely have the right to stop them.
Okay.
If they're on the highway or even on our streets without the valid permit that we issue.
Village sticker,
Yes.
okay.
Anyone else?
I just have one question real quick.
Yes.
ma'am.
Can you monitor their speed too and pull them over for speeding? Cause
We
I,
absolutely can monitor any vehicle that, even the golf cart.
well, they're,
When we went,
governor, they're,
when we went with the UTVs,
right,
people were concerned, well, they go faster than a golf cart. Well, we're at 20-mile-an-hour speed limit everywhere in town. So they can be written a ticket because you have to have a valid driver's license to drive it. So absolutely.
here's my thought though, and maybe this is irrelevant. Golf cart stickers are for golf carts and they have a they have a speed that they can't go over. And
Golf
these-
cart and UTVs can issue golf cart stickers as well. We approved
That was my
that.
question, because they have a higher speed,
Mhm.
how are they getting a golf cart? Isn't
Because
that different?
it's not necessarily, ours is not necessarily golf cart, it's recreational vehicle
Gotcha.
sticker.
Oh.
So that's how we
We,
turned that in the
we,
village.
we
Initially,
read
it
it
was,
as a golf cart sticker,
Yeah.
but it's really,
yeah,
okay,
initially it
gotcha.
was only golf carts.
gotcha.
The UTVs weren't overly, the side-by-side UTVs were not
Because you see
popular.
more of them and more of them now.
Yes,
Yeah,
and the ride-on ones are prohibited, but the side-by-sides have become more and more popular. So
gotcha,
that was why we granted that provision in there.
gotcha.
Good question. I didn't know that either.
Anyone else? All right, I got a few things here. Some upcoming events for the library. The library contacted me last week, asked if I could bring this up at a meeting. So on Friday, June 20th, it's the first day of summer, they're going to have kids come to the library pick up a library book and allow them to go ahead and use sidewalk chalk and decorate the sidewalks. They'll be monitored by an adult. And if it becomes an issue, you can let me know and I will bring the truck that we water flowers with and wash the sidewalks off. So it's just sidewalk chalk. And I said, sure, it's not going to hurt anything. And when it rains, it's gone anyway. So there's not going to be any damage and the kids will have a good time and they will be monitored by an adult. On Monday, July 14th and July 16th. July 14th is National Mac and Cheese Day. And, I know you're pretty excited, but there's more to it. And, July 16th is National Hot Dog Day. So, the library got with Flanagan's. So that Monday from 2 to 4, Flanagan's is going to have a serving of mac and cheese and a hot dog and a juice box free for the kids. So you go to the library and this is not for the adults now, because I see some of you marking it down. Go to the library, talk to Kim, and she will give you more details. And then on Sunday, August 31st is National Eat Out Day. She asked if the park wasn't rented and the weather was bad, if they could, what it's going to be is you're going to bring your little brown bag lunch, have a little picnic here, just for families to kind of get together and stuff. So if the park isn't rented, we'll open the park building up for if the weather's bad. Otherwise, the kids are going to enjoy it at the picnic tables out here in the park. It's just to bring families together to enjoy a meal. The kids play on our swings and enjoy things here in our playgrounds. So if you have any questions, I suggest that you contact the library and they could give you more details on this. If I didn't screw up the dates, I hope not. Tomorrow we have adjudication court. I have on my list here, I have 3 businesses that I've been talking to Chief Fry about that we're trying to get to clean up the businesses here. And it's been somewhat successful, but not at the speed I would like to see. So I told him what we're going to do. I'm going to talk tomorrow if they're at this meeting at our court. They're going to get 90 days to comply. Before that 90 days is up, I will have a determination from the village attorney on what my next step legally can be to these businesses. One business has operated this way for over 30 years. I can't tell you what they actually sell because it looks like a junkyard. Another business has complied somewhat. And then we have another one that's in a residential setting operating a business that is not licensed to do that. So all we're asking you to do is get in line. We're spending a lot of money on beautification projects here, and I want to make sure that everybody is complying. I will be willing to work with anybody with this, but on some of the cases, limitation on time has already been used up, and there hasn't been much movement. So we can't go in there and arrest them for anything. I would like to talk to them and see what the issue is on why we can't comply a little bit better. I will do that tomorrow. If they're not at court, then the following day I will go to their business and try to make contact with them and talk to them. The next thing I got is there's a lot going on at the end of the month. I'm going to be talking to developers. I'm going to be talking, which we have met already with Midland State Bank, about some possible building going out in the future in Grant Park. We're stagnant right now. We're not doing anything. Up until the last 4 homes, the last home was built in 2010 on Butler Street. We haven't had any growth at all. So we had 4 homes built, and the one on Butler was the last one, which is our zoning board chairman's home. So we are looking at possibility of some building going on if we can gain interest in it. So we're going to be meeting with the bank. We already met with them. We're going to be meeting with 3 developers, or actually 4 developers at the end of the month, discussing future plans, which when plans are more secured, we will bring that up to the village board. This is just a talking stage right now. We're a long way from anything really happening, but we have to start someplace. We have property available, but we're not doing anything. Our population is not growing. It is dwindling down. We want to bring people into the school district. And hopefully by bringing families in, we can go ahead and bring businesses behind it. Other than that, that's the only way we can bring up our revenue. We're not looking to raise taxes, but somehow we have to cover our costs as a village. And that is my job to see what I can do to make that happen. The last thing on my agenda here tonight is anytime that we need to talk to an outside agency, somebody that we employ, I need to know what's going on. It's not to hear it secondhand. So when people come up to me, I have to be able to talk to people in the community with the latest information. And a lot of time I don't get the latest information, or we get a bill and I don't know anything about the bill. So I need to be on the forefront of that. I need to know what's going on. It's not that I have to know and no one else, but I need to be one of the first people to know what's happening. If I'm going to run the village, then I need to be on top of this. And not see, when I walk in the village hall, see a bill from somebody and I have no idea what it's for. So it's hard to explain. As I said in my first meeting, I work for the people that put me in office. They don't work for me. So I have to have answers for them. And right now, I don't have all the answers that I need to. And I need to be more on top of that. So that's all I have for you this evening. I'm going to ask at this time, is there a need to go in executive session? So, there's no need to go in executive session. Do we have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.